Welcome to the Electric Playground. Today on the show, we run, jump, and shoot with Mega Man in the Rundown.
Plus, we prepare you for M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit with a behind-the-scenes look and a review.
Would you mind getting inside the oven to clean it?
And then we take flight with Sega's new adorable game called Hiroki. Also coming up, we continue our daily Star Wars memories with Lucasfilm Steve Sansweet. Scott and Marissa review The Overnight and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. Electman is vulnerable to the rolling cutter, but there's something even more deadly. It's called the Rundown. One of the world's most beloved video game characters might be jumping and sliding all the way into movie theaters. Capcom and 20th Century Fox are rumored to be working on a live-action Mega Man movie. No official announcements have been made, but film website The Tracking Board reports that the movie is being overseen by the same producing team behind the recent Planet of the Apes movies. This comes just weeks after Capcom released the new Mega Man Legacy Collection, and the publisher is also working on an animated TV series featuring the character due in 2017. We'll let you know if more details come in. If you're desperate to see the new Star Wars movie before everyone else, you'll need to book passage with a good pilot. Disney has revealed that Star Wars The Force Awakens will be released a day early in the UK and 2 days early in France. They haven't said if the film will be releasing early in any other territories, and this is likely to increase the opening weekend box office numbers. The Force Awakens is already expected to earn more than $500 million worldwide in its opening weekend, which would make it the biggest opening of all time. Keep your fingers crossed that there will be early screenings in North America. It will be open everywhere on December 18th. Couldn't think of a better person to talk about Star Wars and Mega Man with than my old pal Scott C. Jones. What do you think about Mega Man as a movie?
Well, what if Star Wars and Mega Man came together and made a baby? Congratulations to
Don't
both.
give Disney any ideas.
Yeah, that might happen.
Yes.
You know, I'm kind of ambivalent about this. Like, who really needs a Mega Man movie? What more do we need to learn about him? What do you want to see from Mega Man?
I would just like to see these characters, that, you know, the bosses and the characters, and it's, you know, the Doctor giving him all of his powers and all that stuff, and fuse that with a action-adventure kind of story. I think that could be pretty cool. Now, one thing that is intriguing about this Mega Man movie, of course, is that our old friend Tim Carter announced last year on EP that he's going to be making a Mighty Number 9 live-action movie with the inventor, the creator of Mega Man, Keiji Inafune. So now we've got these two similar-looking projects going head-to-head. But I think Capcom's got a little bit more budget at their disposal, so presumably that movie might be a little bit sort of bigger budget.
Are we all out of stories? Can we not find characters someplace else?
You know the next threshold will be video game movies. You know that we're coming up to that. And one of these is going to be good, and that will usher in a whole new era
So
of good
meanwhile,
movies.
we just have to watch a bunch of crappy ones.
Over in a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars is opening early.
Can we go 5 minutes without talking about Star Wars?
No.
Come on!
This season is subtitled The Electric Playground Season 25.
It really is.
You do not know how big Star Wars is?
So listen, it's opening in France apparently.
Yeah, early.
2 days earlier from the rest of the world.
I'll be away on the 16th of December.
Are you mysteriously not going to be here?
I'm going to be in Grand Paris. Aren't you already a day early anyways because of the time zones?
You are a day early over there.
So, okay,
so now that's 3 days early.
Maybe.
So
right.
You really are going to be away now.
Wow, yeah, okay.
I'm booking passage
I'm trying to figure this out.
at this point.
It makes sense to spend a few $1,000s to go to Paris to go see the movie, doesn't it?
So we've talked about Star Wars here. We're probably going to be talking about it again later in the show, and then tomorrow's show again, and the day after that again.
Well, every day, because we have the 100 Days of Star Wars every day. People talking about stuff.
That's right.
Star Wars The Force Awakens is a big, big deal. It's the biggest deal of 2015. And kudos to everybody that's going to get a chance to check it out before everybody. No spoilers. All right now we've got to move over to a brand new M. Night Shyamalan movie. It's called The Visit. Let's go behind the scenes.
My parents asked if their grandchildren could visit them for a week.
Here we are.
The story that Knight is telling, or the theme that he's touching on in the movie, is that older people are often scary when you're a kid. I think I have memories of my grandmother, who I loved and had a great relationship with, but also when you're so young and you see someone so old, it's jarring. And I think The Visit is really about that. The Visit is particularly about two children, a brother and sister, and they go to see their grandparents, and things start off very well, but they do not end that way.
I have not seen your Nana this happy in years. Bedtime here is 9:30. It's probably best you two shouldn't come out of your room after that.
Nana has secrets. That's what I would say. Nana has secrets. Nana is not all she appears to be. She is not the sweet grandmother entirely that you see in the beginning.
Nana, are you okay?
It's a challenge because, she's doing all this stuff at night, after dark. She's getting up and doing all this, not to give too much away, but doing all this outrageous behavior.
I was just cleaning it.
And I think the Pop is maybe a little more self-aware than she is. I think that when she goes off on her stuff, she's not very aware of what's going on here.
The main character is a young filmmaker, and it's a 15-year-old girl who believes in the power of cinema.
Mom, you need to come right now.
This film is definitely a mix of comedy and all the other genres, which is, it's lucky because it can be dramatic and it can be so, it can be scary, but then you'll be hit with this comedy and you're like, hey, this isn't so bad. And then you're back to, the thriller side of it. I think, again, that's what makes it such a great film, is the fact that it's got all these different genres in balance. It's hilarious at times, but then it's some other times, you're sitting at the edge of your seat, really.
Would you mind getting inside the oven to clean it?
The Visit is in theaters now, and we're going to have our EP review later in the show.
Yeah, and stick around. Marissa and I are back with a review of Sega's new iOS game called Hiroki after this.
Welcome back to EP Daily. Vic and Marissa are reviewing games on their iPhones again. Today they've got a game called Hiroki. It's from our old friends at Sega. Here's the review.
EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now. Sega went and dropped a surprise platformer on us on the App Store. It's called Hiroki, and Marissa and I have taken a look at this game and played it. What did you think, my friend?
I was excited when you had already downloaded it.
Yeah.
So, full disclosure, Vic and I share an account when we want to play iOS games, so it's great. I jumped in and I was so excited because I saw this cute little icon, and I was pumped to download it and play. And it really is. It's so simple to jump in, and the way they explain the mechanics of the game, so simple.
Yeah.
The way you can use different control options here are fantastic as well.
Except that they use a little controller icon to sort of suggest that the controls can be optimized that way, but you can't use a controller. So that got me annoyed right away because this would have been a great MFi controller experience, but no, you have to tap on the screen to guide.
I want to have to pull out the blow darts to go make you go to sleep right now.
You can use a virtual controller, which absolutely sucks. But
no, it doesn't.
What did you use?
I liked it. I liked the virtual controller.
I couldn't handle it. Too twitchy.
So there were 3 different options here that you can go to. The one is actually recommended because it says best option.
That's terrible.
Which is the worst one.
Terrible.
It was the worst one. It was to pull behind him.
Yeah, it's basically you're trying to play it like air hockey. It's not good.
I'm not really sure why they chose that as their main control option.
I use the pull one.
Terrible. Yeah. So the pull one is my second favorite.
I can't believe you use the virtual.
But the virtual controller,
and you're not calling me saying, "Can I borrow your controller, your real controller?"
No, of course not. I never think about your portable controller. That's only you. It's only in your head. Okay. So,
pisses me off. This game would have been great with an MFi controller.
Well, look, see, I didn't even know about it, and I'm excited that you can actually use it. This is exciting for me because you get to play an iOS game like regular people.
Like the plebes.
Like everybody else out there. You jump into this thing and he is so cute. You
have very charming.
You have a little guy. He's like your godfather, sort of.
Yeah, it's, you know what? It's kind of like a crazy mixture of Katamari Damacy type creations and a little Sonic the Hedgehog kind of stuff, kind of kludged together in this really cartoony, fun way. And that's one of my favorite words. And the music is really charming in here as well. Now, I think one of the big challenges with this game is that you're going to get stuck because the other mechanics in here are you can lift up stuff and chuck them at different enemies and stuff like
yeah.
that. And you've got to open up a lot of doors. And so you're going to get stuck kind of looking all over the damn place to find the little items that will allow you to keep progressing.
For sure.
And that gets a little repetitive and a little tedious. But up until that point, and I think this is one of those games that you maybe don't eat the whole thing all at once. You nibble at it for a little while, you put it away, you play something else on the phone, then you go back to it.
Yeah.
And if you do it that way, I think you'll get a lot of value out of this game because it's really well made. It just suffers from repetition in its design. So what are you going to give to Hiroki?
Hiroki gets a 7.
It's an 8 from me.
Thanks, Vic and Maris. Great job. But Maris, unfortunately, we're sending you down to the minors. It's time for me to step up. I'm taking Vic to the movies. We're going to see M. Night Shyamalan's latest film, The Visit.
Gonna get you.
We saw an M. Night Shyamalan movie last night and live to tell the tale. See, it's bright and sunny and beautiful out here, but we saw The Visit. It's a new horror movie in the shaky cam genre. What's the genre called?
It's just like the characters in the film have cameras.
Yes.
They carry them around. They film a bunch of stuff, and apparently all that footage is recovered and cobbled into a film of some sort.
Here we are.
And I'm sick of this genre, and I am sick of M. Night Shyamalan movies. This is absolutely, I'm saying this, EP Daily, this is my last M. Night Shyamalan movie
You're not going to
on
see
the
any
show.
more.
Listen,
Okay.
he has made good films before.
He sure has.
Sixth Sense, I didn't like that much. It was okay.
It was good.
But Unbreakable is a great film. I love that film.
That was an amazing movie.
And then we get this film. What the hell happened, M. Night? Here's the premise of the film. There's a mother who has a difficult relationship with her parents, and she sends her own kids. I don't understand this for the life of me. She sends her own kids to her parents' house, but she doesn't go herself.
No.
So it's these two kids. It's kind of a fairy tale situation for sure. There's even an oven in there. One of the grandparents makes one of the kids crawl into him.
Would you mind getting inside the oven to clean it?
There are some things that could be spoiled here, but this is an old, creepy house. There's two old, creepy people in it, and there's two young kids, and I feel like this premise is ripe for horror, thriller kind of exploitation, and M. Night Shyamalan exploits none of it and embraces none of it, and I'm so frustrated. I'm so angry, Vic.
Obviously, you spend most of the time trying to figure out the logic of why these people would have cameras in their hands all the time for every single situation.
I know, and it's so awkward.
It's so stupid, yes.
And you're like, why is he carrying that camera? Now she's got a camera too. And, oh, I guess they're still filming everything. And I kept trying to suspend my disbelief over the course of the film. And I just felt, this movie is so silly and stupid. And I felt like whatever tension it might have had at the beginning is gone almost immediately. And then over the course of the film, it just, I cared less and less and less. And finally, I got angry. I watched the end. I watched the whole thing. The thing I always think when I go into a horror film is what kind of sense of place does this have? I mean, we're in an old farmhouse. We got all kinds of strange buildings. We're in the woods. We're disconnected from the real world, from society.
Yeah, and it's not the kids that are creepy this time. It's the old people.
Bedtime here is 9:30. It's probably best you two shouldn't come out of your room after that.
And there's some great allusions to mental illness and having to just contend with mental illness. Some of that stuff was actually interesting, but it does just fall apart because you just don't believe anything that you see on screen. You just don't believe that it was put together and manufactured by this. As good as the performers, the actors try to make their performances, they're undone by terrible scripting, and you just kind of feel bad for everybody involved, and you feel kind of like shame, I think, for M. Night Shyamalan. It just looks like an egregious chase for money. Just like, okay, this is a genre that's going to do all right. The kids are going to line up for it. M. Night, you need some box office, so let's just put your name on this sucker.
I was just cleaning it.
I mean, I want to help him. I want to give him some therapy. I want to help guide his career. I do feel like he's a filmmaker who does have talent, but he hasn't really realized it or tapped into it in a very long time. I don't mind the slapdash quality of these Blumhouse movies. I think sometimes you can get a good one there. We've had some good horror movies this year.
Sinister was one of theirs too.
But this is not a good horror movie. This is not a smart movie. This is a very stupid movie with found footage as a part of the premise.
Nan and Pop-Up are acting strange. Ow.
Kind of strange. Becca, did you hit Tyler?
No.
It's a trope that might have worked maybe 5 or 10 years ago, but Jesus, it doesn't work anymore. Are you people living in the real world? Are you on the internet? Do you know what we can do now? And Catherine Hahn, as the mother here, keeps sending Skype calls from her cruise ship that she's on. And that's just, I'm just so frustrated. Why would you send your kids to go live with these crazy old people just so we can make a movie?
Just to manufacture a preposterous situation like this.
Angry,
what are you
Vic.
going to give the visit?
I'm going to give it a 2.
I'm giving it a 3.5. All right, well, stick around. Adam Scott and Taylor Schilling are having an overnight, and Scott and Marissa have the review after this.
If you're uncomfortable, you don't have to do anything you don't want to.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Steve Sansweet. I run Rancho Obi-Wan, home of the world's largest Star Wars collection. My favorite Star Wars moment is one completely without dialogue. The very first Star Wars movie, Luke leaving his homestead, standing on that hill, looking up into the skies, knowing there was something beyond him, something greater going on, and that yearning to leave home and to take part in the greater galaxy, and that incredible John Williams music called Binary Sunset. That gave me a chill the first time I saw Star Wars. It gives me a chill every time I see it.
So great seeing Steve Sansweet do anything. Now it's time for Marissa and myself to go to the movies. We're seeing a new film called The Overnight. I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. Here's the review.
If you're uncomfortable, you don't have to do anything you don't want to.
Okay. Marissa and I went to the movies in the best way that I can think of to go to the movies, which is watching it on my phone. It's video on demand. This is The Overnight. This was in theaters, I think not long ago, but I got to watch it from my bed, and I think that's the right place to watch this kind of movie.
This is a movie that stars Adam Scott and Taylor Schilling. You recognize them from other things that you've seen on demand.
I always think of those two as kind of TV actors, and it was nice to see them, or maybe a little strange. Maybe part of the seduction that I enjoyed here was seeing the two of them in a movie together.
Yes, they play a couple that's in love, and you believe they're in love. They have a young son. They just moved to California, and you know what? They want to make some new friends. They've just been there for a couple of weeks. They do meet a new friend that invites them over for a dinner party, and they have their kids that, you know, seem to get along, so why not? Let's have a dinner party together. There's a strange vibe off the top of this, but you're never really quite sure where it's going to go, and that's the appeal of the movie here. You're never quite sure what's going to happen next, and you're kind of on the edge of your bed because you're watching it at home.
I was watching it in my bed.
Wondering what is going to happen next, and I don't feel like we should spoil anything about this movie.
Why don't we put the kids to bed upstairs and continue down here?
Oh.
Give me 20 minutes, and I will give you parental bliss.
It's about two couples in a very wealthy part of Los Angeles. And the other couple is played by Jason Schwartzman and his wife, Judith Goresh. They're a very attractive couple, and you put two attractive couples alone in a house, and you start wondering where this is going to go. What I loved about this is that I felt like it was about two real couples who were engaging in a very interesting and curious way. And I felt like there was an authenticity there. I felt like there was a believability there. And I also felt like it was kind of a nice film to see because I'm not married, I'm not in a relationship, I'm out there alone, but I do see all the people in my life who've gotten divorced, who've ended relationships, who are sad. But these are two couples who are trying to find ways to keep their relationships interesting, and they keep engaged with one another, and they try different things, and they learn different things about each other, and I give them all credit for that. I felt like there's actually, for all the selfishness in the movie, there's actually a lot of love in the movie.
There is a lot of love in the movie. You're right about that because it does feel incredibly real. I love that. And you got a kind of a weird feeling as the night was going on, like they're gonna try something here. And you did feel the awkwardness in this movie, and I liked that. I liked feeling like I wasn't sure what was gonna happen next, just like Taylor Schilling's character in the movie. She wasn't quite sure. She was a little bit suspicious the whole time.
This is California. Maybe this is what dinner parties are like.
These people were all trying to find ways to connect. And I love that. I really admire that.
Yes. Well, it was shocking for me. It made me want to talk about it. That's why I had to text you right away. Like, I cannot believe what I'm watching. And that was great for me. I love that I had that reaction that it was so quick, it was so real. So yes, I do applaud Patrick Brice. We just watched his movie Creed.
Yeah, and I can't believe, like, he's my new favorite filmmaker. Like, Creep I loved, and I really like this film a lot.
It was interesting. It was awkward.
Well, listen, I need to weigh in with a score, and I'm going to go really high on this one. I think this is a 9.5.
Wow, it gets 7.5 for me.
Just two couples having a good time and being honest with one another. Up next, the Twitter question of the day after this.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Electric Playground. It's time for the Twitter question of the day. This one's from Ryan Prince at Simple Photo Guy. I've watched Humans, Daredevil, and Luther. What should I be watching next? I guess based on our recommendations. Yeah. I'm going to say Mr. Robot, although the only episode we've been able to see so far, don't understand why, in the iTunes Canadian store is the first episode. But this show's incredibly cool.
I really love that first episode. And, you know, the show I'm going to say is The Louie Show on the FX network. There's one scene from the new season where he's packing for a trip. He's got underwear and he goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then he adds an extra one and says sweaty.
Sweaty. All right. Okay, good. Remember, if you've got a question for us or you want to get caught up on the shows, go to our website, epn.tv.
And you're not going to want to miss our next episode. Next week, we're going to have a story on Skylanders Superchargers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
We'll see you then.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox.
You buy the game, you're going to get a land-based vehicle. With that, you have access to 2 land-based racetracks, which are packed into starter pack. There's also 2 water racetracks and 2 air racetracks packed into starter pack as well. You can unlock those if you get a water vehicle or a sky vehicle. So essentially, just with that, you can access all the racing. The racing itself is very battle and combat driven, so you're going to want to be the first to the finish line, but there's all sorts of ways you can grief your opponents and slow them down by attacking them on the road.
You guys have different kinds of Skylanders too, right? Different Skylanders that have different powers. So what's going to happen if I put a Skylander with a heavier power in a vehicle to race? Am I going to kill everybody on the track?
That's a good question. So really, most of your attacks are based on the vehicle you're using, right? The drivers themselves, really they only matter if you supercharge one of your vehicles. So we have 20 new vehicles coming out, 20 new drivers. If you match a driver up with their matching vehicle, you can supercharge that vehicle, give it a few little extra powers and boosts.
Born to burn!